Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again. First day on a new job is always an exciting day. Today we're in Medford, Massachusetts, an interesting suburb of Boston, originally one of the early 1600 settlements. Today we'll give you a close look at the town as well as meeting the new owner of this beautiful little house, meeting with his contractor and his architect as well, so we can get an idea of the kind of dreams they have for this place. Stick around. It's good to have you home again. Medford is located about 5 miles northwest of Boston, and today it's become a part of the greater metropolitan area. But it's the fourth oldest English settlement in America, dating back to 1630, and it was built upon the lands of two wealthy British families. The Royals' modest 1630 farmhouse, south of the Mystic River, was later built up into this stunning benchmark of American Georgian architecture. Used as a base of operations during the Revolution, the Royal House survives today as a house museum and is actually thought to be the only surviving house in the north that still has its slave quarters intact. We'll certainly have to pay a visit to this house later in the series. Owning the land north of the Mystic River, Peter Tufts built this house around 1680. It has survived so long in part because its brick walls are 18 inches thick. Peter's descendant, Charles Tufts, gave over 100 acres here on Walnut Hill, one of the highest hills in North Boston, for the founding of Tufts University in 1852, now a major source of prestige for Medford. Today it's bisected by Interstate 93, a major commuting route into Boston. But for the first 3 centuries of its development, Medford depended on its water routes, the Mystic River and the Middlesex Canal. From the beginning, Medford prospered as a shipbuilding center along the Mystic River. In all, 586 ships were built here along Riverside Avenue, then known as Ship Street. Many were clipper ships that ran the triangular trade in sugar, slaves, and rum between Europe, the Caribbean, and the colonies. In its heyday, Thatcher Magoon's shipyard employed 1,000 workers here and brought in lumber from as far north as New Hampshire after the Middlesex Canal was completed in 1803. There's not much left of the Middlesex Canal today, but for more than 50 years, it was the easiest way to transport people and materials between the Charles River in Boston and Lowell, the big mill town on the Merrimack River. Medford both benefited and participated in that traffic. Its brickyards and tile industries employed waves of immigrants, mostly Irish. When the shipbuilding industry declined, it was replaced by the manufacture of textiles, carpets, hats, even linseed oil, and manufactured products like machinery for shoemaking, even brass soda fountains. Today, Medford is really a bedroom community for Boston, and much of the sturdy Victorian architecture that was put up during the Industrial Revolution is in very high demand. Real estate values are on the rise along these narrow neighborhood streets lined with modest but gracious single and multifamily houses built closely together. And the post-war building boom produced whole tracts of middle-class suburban single-family homes. But Medford also has an eclectic collection of buildings with real history. Medford Square has managed to preserve some of its Victorian character with turn-of-the-century brick commercial buildings. And over the river and through the woods is Grandfather's house, the home that inspired Medford resident and abolitionist Lydia Maria Child to write the famous Thanksgiving song. The Mystic River is no longer used for commercial traffic, but as it flows quietly past these residential neighborhoods and bustling squares, it's a reminder of Medford's historic past. Just up the hill in West Medford is our project house. Let's go take a look. One of the great things about moving into an old neighborhood is that you're likely to have neighboring houses like this beautiful Victorian behind me. This 1897 map of West Medford shows the house and barn of the Oxnard Dairy, which processed and delivered milk in this neighborhood from 1886 until the 1960s. That little house and barn you see is where we're headed. And as we get to the corner is our subject house, a trim example of New England architecture, probably from the 1880s, and Rick Larson, the new owner. How are you, Rick?
Good, thank you.
Tell us about what attracted you to this house.
Well, this house really combines everything my partner and I really wanted in a place. It's a nice, compact home for empty nesters. My kids are grown. My partner is an artist, so she has the space she needs, and I can put my business in it.
Right.
And it has a lot of wonderful things, starting with this garden, which I'd like to show you. A nice southern exposure, and this amazing hemlock hedges, which we're keeping and become part of
it's an amazing hedge. Wow, there's a lot more here than meets the eye. This is a fabulous backyard.
Yeah, it's very exciting because you don't expect to see it from the street.
Mm-hmm. It must be, I'd say, 60 by 100.
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah, and there's a lot more house than you think there is. When you look at the front facade on the street, it's narrow and tall. Look at all of this.
No, it's very nicely sized, and it also what's exciting is that besides the 2 living floors, the first and second floor, there's a full attic we can do something with, and a full basement that's unbelievable, it may seem, dry.
Mm-hmm. So have you started thinking about the architect's role?
We have. In fact, we've hired an architect, and his name is Richard Tremaglio, and I'd like to introduce you to him.
Terrific. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Bob. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Rick, good to see you again.
You know what occurs to me is that this is the sort of house that maybe 5 or 10 years ago would not have warranted involving an architect in remodeling it. But now things have changed.
Things have changed enormously. The biggest issue is affordability, being able to find a place with this kind of space for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And for an architect, it's a wonderful opportunity because it's a very neutral, kind of humble house, and it offers great design possibilities.
Yes, you're not constrained by a lot of columns and a lot of elements that you would have to respect. You've got the opportunity to change things.
Mm-hmm.
I would think this would be a great place for a big backyard deck.
Wonderful backyard deck. In fact, maybe even an upper deck as well.
And then you've got an added asset that we haven't even talked about here. This is a full carriage house, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, we're talking a serious accessory building here, aren't we, Rick?
It's very nice. We have the great yard in the background, and then this wonderful barn, which was actually a dairy barn from 1885 to 1970.
Mm-hmm.
There were no cows here, but the milk was brought in. They processed the milk, and the Oxnard Dairy, the sign's still inside, serviced the neighborhood.
So they bottled it in here, and then they
here.
distributed it around in the neighborhood.
By horse and buggy till 1954.
Does that mean that this is a commercially zoned building?
It is commercially zoned, which is nice because we can use it as an art studio quite legally.
Fabulous. Legally.
Legally.
Well, it has one problem. It's sitting on the lot line, so it's a non-conforming building, and it could pose problems if we try to add to it.
But you wouldn't want to add to it, but you'd want to be able to develop
We'd
it.
probably do something with the space as an art studio. And
Could you connect it to the house?
we're going to try that. We probably need a variance for that.
Uh-huh. But you couldn't turn it into a residence and
No.
spin it off?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
it's illegal to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go inside and take a closer look at the residence.
Great.
Okay. Learn more about planning a major remodeling project at bobvila.com.
So this is the old kitchen, Bob, and there's a lot that we like about it.
It's spacious, yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
And it's
Must
got
be
that terrific-
10 by 12, and it's got a breakfast nook
Right.
built into it.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And
It's on the north side, but it still has good light,
Mhm.
excellent light with a skylight.
They added a skylight at some point. It looks, you know, it's in move-in condition, although I'm sure you'll want to make some changes here.
Exactly.
Yeah. The doors are nice. The
Yeah,
cabinet
these are the
doors.
original doors.
We're
and,
probably going to save those, just the doors.
and the glass ones over here as well.
Right, and include them in the new cabinet work.
Yeah, well, you can do that because, I mean, these were all cabinets that were built in place by the carpenters. And obviously, you can save the doors and the hinges and just build new boxes for them in a different location. Yeah. What's through here then?
Well, this gets blown out with and then we have access to what will eventually be the dining and family rooms.
So you'll remove a wall so that you can have one big space.
Exactly.
This is an unusual room.
Well, this is the old office for the Oxnard Dairy. The bill payers could come up there and come in without disturbing the family, and has some nice elements that we want to keep.
This built-in is a very nice element.
It's probably a bookcase with drawers below, and we're going to try to save those doors as well and reuse them as a piece of a screen inside the building somewhere.
So the idea here is not so much to restore as it is to remodel,
Well,
to really bring it into the 21st century in a way.
That's right. It's to keep what's here, add to it in a collage-like way, and try to have memories of the past, like these doors, and there's a couple of beautiful old columns out on the porch, which we're going to include.
Mm-hmm. But this is the corner of the house where you would try to
Right.
connect it to the carriage house.
That's right, with a breezeway out here, exactly. And this
Okay.
will become the kind of the heart of the house.
Sure, the kitchen, dining area.
Right.
Then what's through here? The formal dining room? Yeah, I would think. This was originally meant to be a dining room, right?
Yeah, this was the original dining room, and the fireplace is probably going to be reactivated. It's in very good shape.
Yeah, it looks like it hasn't been used in many years.
No, I don't think so.
No, the second owner was not a fireplace person. He was here for 30 years.
But it has some very nice old brick on the hearth.
Probably Medford brick.
Might be Medford brick. Yeah,
And nice oak floors in here.
yeah.
So will the shape of this room remain?
The shape of this room will be pretty much intact. The only difference will be that one corner of it will be open to the heart of the house.
The heart of the house is where the staircase is.
The staircase and the kitchen family.
Yes, okay. And then the front of the house is almost like a double parlor width and another fireplace right in here.
Yeah.
So have you got any plans yet that we can take a look at?
I have plans, yes, that should be useful. Okay, let's orient it the way we're standing. Okay. So the idea with this design, if you will, is a series of vignettes added to the house, but there are three major regions. There's the studio and garage connected by a breezeway to the family kitchen, which is being opened up considerably,
Right.
and even opened up vertically with glass block in the floor all the way up through the building.
Oh, really?
Yep, small panel of glass block in the floor, which will allow light all the way down from above.
Right.
And then the living room will remain pretty much the same.
Well,
and
the dining room that we were just in
right,
becomes the living room.
becomes the living room.
And the living room that we're in right now becomes the
the
study.
study, and the current entry will be changed a little bit, moving the door over to make a gallery space for display. So we essentially have three primary regions.
And then on the second floor, we've got essentially a master suite in the middle.
The same, yeah, with a very interesting shower that opens, that has glass block looking out onto a deck.
And then two additional family bedrooms.
Yep,
And these are dressing rooms on the north side.
yep.
And then the attic gets fully developed.
The attic will be fully developed into an office, very bright and cheery space above, and a guest room with a porch and a lot of storage at one end.
Fabulous. And then the elevations, the front elevation, I see a change right away. I know that the porch that's on there is just a small porch.
Yeah, we all felt that it was a bit small for the scale of the house, and we decided to increase it and make it the full width of the house, which is fairly typical in houses of this type anyway.
And then you're going to create a triangle of glass up here.
And a triangle glass in the studio. And on the garden elevation, the rather blunt sense of the facade is going to be modified somewhat by adding a porch at the top of the tower and a porch at the bedroom and an addition, which is the family addition, to the back.
That's pretty exciting, Richard. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
When we come back, we'll get started with demolition, so stick around. This house has a very centrally located and economical staircase, but it goes all the way up to the third floor. And let's take a quick geography lesson. I see that our contractor's been here because we're already starting to see some marks of walls that have to be removed. This is the pink room, and it's a nice-sized bedroom on the southeast corner of the house. Through the window, you can see the carriage house that we were looking at earlier. And I believe this and the next room all get converted into one master suite. Then what we have in the current plan is an existing blue bathroom with a lot of decorating that's been done over the years. Some of the things that you see here might be considered a little bit out of fashion. The marbleized formica and the hanging light fixtures and the like. There's a nice linen closet here. Then down the hall, we've got access to the attic. We've got a very spacious laundry room with wall-to-wall, which I believe gets converted into a second bathroom here. And then we've got a nice pair of bedrooms, both of them good kids' rooms. They're about 10 by 10. This one's a little bit larger. But let's go into the existing master and talk with Charlie Tomaszewski, who's our general contractor. Hey, Charlie.
Hey Bob, how are you?
So you're getting ready for your demolition contractor, I would presume.
Yep, we're just removing a plaster here.
Yeah.
For the plumbing that's going into the other side.
So this wall doesn't come out. You
No,
leave the studs
studs
up?
only.
Okay.
Studs only, that's right.
What, is going to be a plumbing wall?
There'll be a plumbing wall there.
But basically, that pink room and this room become the master
Become the
suite.
master suite, exactly.
Okay. And so this closet gets taken out, right?
Yes.
This is a nice door. You got a mirror on it and everything. You're
The
supposed.
dressing room door, I think we're gonna try to incorporate that somewhere else in the house.
Okay.
So-
Well, why don't I give you a hand? It's
Yep,
probably not
we'll
the kind of
take
thing
that
that you
off.
really want to trust your contractor to, your demolition contractor to
No,
take out.
it's a pretty nice door, so I'd rather take care of it myself.
All right. Well, the first thing to do is to pull the pins on it.
Yep.
Nice heavy door.
Oh yeah, nice and heavy.
I'm going to get some tape to tape these on later. But how do you go about taking the casings off, Charlie?
Well, what we'll do first is that we'll cut the paint line along this casing.
Just take your utility knife and
utility
score it.
knife, just come right down along here like so.
That's always a good idea to do. Although in this case, since the plaster's coming off anyway,
Exactly.
it's not
we
that
don't-
important.
We don't really have to protect the wall.
Right. And then with this type of casing, you want to get the rosettes out first,
Take
right?
the rosettes first. There we go. Pull that right down. Good. There we go.
All right, good. Coming up next, we'll evaluate the attic remodeling plan with our structural engineer. Joining us now is Steve Siegel, who is our consulting engineer on the structure. And this attic is nice because it's totally undisturbed. This is 1880s up here. There's a little maid's room that was put in, but clearly this doesn't meet code anymore. And if we're going to be changing the use and creating a home office here with nice cathedral ceilings, what do you think of the existing structure?
It's clearly undersized, so we'd have to reinforce it. You know, these are full 2x6 rafters, but they're pretty widely spaced. Put a tape here, you can see they're at 2
24.
feet on center.
Yeah.
If you're going to make this a living space, I'd probably end up taking these collar ties out and putting a ridge beam in.
Those are the flimsiest collar ties I've ever seen. They're
Yeah.
like 2x3s.
Yep.
And then if you wanted to put a ridge beam, that basically is taking the whole load of the roof so that it can't spread out.
That's
But
right.
how would you install it here?
Well, a real simple way to put it in this case, is you'll notice that the rafters are working right opposite each other on the ridge plate.
Yeah.
I'd probably put a piece of wood at every single rafter pair, nailed on here, running across and nailed on here.
Like a 2x6.
A 2x6 perhaps, and then a ridge beam could be pushed right up to the underside of that.
So you're creating a flat surface across the whole length of it, and then you're
That's
putting
right.
a beam underneath it.
Right, very
That would
easy.
have to drop down, though, at least a foot, right?
Yes, it would.
Yeah. The only problem I see is the architect wants to put in a big glass triangle to fill in the whole gable end.
Well, that might be a problem.
That might be a problem. Thanks, Steve. We're running short on time. Come home again next time. We're going to be in the midst of all the demolition, hopefully getting started with a little bit of the framing. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. For lots of information and resources for your home improvement project, check out my website at bobvila.com.